movies.
Oh, it's a big look. Yeah. Do you want to get something?
Nope. I assume he didn't have a lazy boy at the time.
No, and unfortunately he was so uncomfortable. As I mentioned, they call this the sick room because, as you can imagine, he spent many uncomfortable nights in here, and this was his bed essentially. They brought these chairs up,
Sitting up in there.
sat sitting up, feet up on one, and just to lie down was just so choking for him. So,
I had pneumonia and it was impossible to lay down.
was it?
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
sit up.
Just choking, yeah.
You just couldn't, when you lay down, you couldn't breathe.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, that's nothing compared to throat cancer, so I can imagine.
What was the treatment for throat cancer at the time, or didn't they have any?
Well, what they did for him, because of the, I mean, if it was caught early enough, cancer was known back then. They were actually able to do surgical procedures. He was diagnosed in the summer of 1884. He had swallowed a peach and thought he swallowed a peach, thought it was a wasp or a bee, or went back to New York City, and that's when he was diagnosed, and it was full-blown as well, way beyond surgical procedures. So for him, what they did for treatment was, for the pain, would inject him with morphine. They would actually inject him with brandy to speed his heart rate up. If he was inject him with brandy, he was unable to swallow
Like
that.
kind of medicine.
Yeah, he was unable to. Right.
Swallowing would be okay.
But for a local numbing agent on his actual throat, they would, and this was common practice, a common medication, they would swab it with a water and cocaine solution, and when he died there was still some remaining, and they just left it right here on the top. And yeah,
Where were we?
you might have seen this was featured on if you watch CBS Sunday Morning. This was on.
Maybe that's would have been that. Okay, because usually I've heard some of this.
Any media coverage that we get, they just called with either the prison. Yep, that's been sitting here. There's a, you can see it from the picture there in 1890. The water level has definitely gone down over the years.
So the liquid one.
Good, yep. But the solution, of course, it was all messed up, but the solution has settled over the years. Yeah. Yeah, it's on. I never thought I'd be working in the place.
Exactly. Cocaine sitting there.
Never.
Just to take the stills and doing motion pictures.
So yeah, what we have here is his nightshirt, bathrobe, and there's his top hat. There's a food grinder down there that they would mash his food up. He would eat pureed beef and all types of stuff. And the food came down from the Balmoral Hotel. It's where the family would either go up there or eat down here. So there was no kitchen in here at the time. And you can tell it was built as a summer cottage. There were high ceilings. You'll see lots of rooms and doors here too. There is a kitchen now that was put in for the caretakers, but that room, which is now the kitchen, was the bedroom for the doctor. He had a valet. Grant had a valet also who stayed in that room. And then the stairway is up there, and upstairs there's 4 or 5 bedrooms, and that's where the family stayed. It's interesting. Their furniture is all up there, just stored away in a couple of storage rooms, and our offices are up there now too. But as I had mentioned before, he was just too weak to go up, so they never gave tours up there. It was just always so heavily lived in at the time. Another interesting thing is that they actually did have electricity in the house. They wired it down in July when the family was here. They wired it down from the hotel. And the hotel had electricity because they had put a generator in. Edison, for some reason, we want to do a little more research on it, but for some reason chose the Balmoral as a location to try out one of the new generators. So it's the second hotel in the country ever to have electricity in it.
Because the first one was at Blue Mountain Lake.
Is that so? Okay.
At the Blue Mountain Museum, they say they were the first to have electricity.
That's good to know, because people have asked me what the first one was. If this was the second, I had no idea.
But that, that's maybe 60 miles, 50 miles
He's like north from here?
northwest.
Okay.
But I mean, it's the same in the Adirondacks and the mountains, in a beautiful hotel
Right.
that was built.
Yeah, and from what we understand, it was so incredibly loud that they would shut it off at 10 o'clock each night so people could sleep. So, but yes, they were able to wire electricity down here. So you'll see some of the conduits here, the actual original conduits that they had put in. But then, of course, at night they still use the oil lamps and candles too.
Right now, wow.
Is that
Yeah.
that knob and tube stuff that we have? Is that